Ever since college, people have been telling me that I look like this guy. When they said that, I had no idea who they were talking about. Other people have said that I look like a young Tom Brady, but that's beside the point. Anyways, I have never seen a single episode of any Doctor Who season ever. That changes today. Hello and welcome. I'm the Mayor, and I've been doing humorous content on a different channel for a few years now. And ever since starting that channel, I've been getting dozens of comments on how bow ties are cool if I was Matt Smith, and why the 11th Doctor was giving fast food recommendations. I was even sent Doctor Who products, like this portable Bluetooth speaker from Fame Tech, and this bow tie, and glasses from Magnolia Clothing because of how much I look like Matt Smith. So seeing that the only things I knew about Doctor Who were that there are a lot of them, TARDIS is his time-traveling vehicle, they're all British, some of their enemies are these new-like, powered generator-looking robots, and that there's an episode where Matt Smith is with dinosaurs on a spaceship, I felt it time to actually watch the show and understand it for once. I know nothing about the lore, fan base, controversies, show origins. I'm basically a clean slate. People have been telling me that I need to start with, I think, the 7th Doctor, but I don't think that does the show justice. So I'm going to start at the very beginning with the first episode that was released in 1963. The Unearthly Child with Doctor Who numero uno, played by William Hartnell. My goal is to show off my reaction and honest review of each episode so that the Doctor may be accessible and preserved for generations. They've been doing a good job so far, so why would they need my opinion? But I'm going to go for it. We'll see how this goes, as I may have to lump a few episodes together if they get a little boring, but I will rate each on their enjoyability and or their plot at the end of these videos. Here are my expectations though of the show. I'm expecting Twilight Zone storytelling and no color visual with Star Trek the original series effects and anthology timelines, but they all speak in a British accent. So without further ado, let's dive into the first episode. So you've got this black and white interdimensional opening theme with that song. Oh, so we open up on a foggy night with a Bobby. Maybe he's named Bobby. And he's looking around. I have this feeling that he's like a red shirt from Star Trek. He's going down. So he's hanging around this scrap merchant place and he can't get in. And the camera zooms in on one of the board cracks. I thought we were going to get a jump scare here of someone's eyes. Just like, look at that. The door just opens really easily. All the Bobby had to do was just go boop. Camera is surveying the room and then BAM! There it is. TARDIS, my space-traveling British Bugatti. And then it cuts to the episode's title. Now we're taken to Coal Hill School, where the hairstyle of the day was just poofy. These two teachers get together and complain about Susan Foreman. The same Foreman on the scrap merchant door? Apparently this 15-year-old is a genius. Maybe she's the unearthly child because of her high IQ. So the teachers are trying to help little Susie and said they can come to her house, where she then says that her grandfather doesn't like strangers coming by. If I lived in a foggy scrapyard, I wouldn't want my teachers coming over either. And then the science teacher says, he's a doctor, isn't he? Therefore, he should be willing to have me over. I bet her grandfather is Doctor Who himself. Just a hunch. Man, all this good info and we haven't even hit the 4-minute mark of the episode yet. Then the history teacher wants to meet him. The street address that the school has is the junkyard. So they decide for the benefit of little Susie to follow her home. This is back when teachers, I guess, had nothing else to do in the evening. Cutscene to Susie doing this hand dance with what looks like a prehistoric Walkman. The teachers offer her a ride, where then Susan says normally, like any good British teenager, I like walking through the dark. It's mysterious. So the teachers go to the address and they park literally outside the front door. Not the most conspicuous, but again, they're public school teachers, not MI6. They then talk about how Susan didn't know how many shillings were in a pound since they thought they were on the US decimal system. Whoa. Wait till they get to the lesson on explaining the difference between miles and kilometers. Then Susan says something odd in science class. The camera work here is a little awkward because looking at it from the perspective of one of the teachers, it zooms in really close on Susan where you can see like the beads of sweat coming down her face. That with the thriller-like 60s music kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies. You know, I'm going to make a bet here that she knows all these things because she time travels with her grandpappy. Another scary close-up of her describing time and space as the 4th and 5th dimension. Finally, after all this talking, Susan enters the junkyard and looks around to see if anyone is following her. Did she not see the car right in front of the door? Oh my. So the teachers decide to go in. They see mannequins, thrift store junk, you know, typical in a junkyard. Then the science teacher unconvincingly trips and loses the flashlight, even though you can still see everything pretty clearly. It's not that dark. Then they find the police box where the science teacher says, alive! Then our guy, Billy Hartnell, comes in coughing up a storm, and Susan calls out to him, revealing the location of the teachers hiding behind the stairwell. Yes, she called out from the police box, although it sounds like she was calling from the 2nd story. I like Billy's Krispy Kreme-esque hat and his scarf. Very eccentric. Anyways, he denies. Ask why they're spying on a child. Fair question. Then he just toys with them. After that, he challenges them to find Bobby the Bobby. And Susan speaks out. The history teacher runs into TARDIS, then cutscene to the inside of the police box, which is white and has a lot of contraptions. This feels a lot like the TV room in the original Willy Wonka movie. You know, maybe Willy himself is a Time Lord. I mean, he has a glass elevator, lives in England, wears a bow tie, I think, and he had this small room that turned into a larger room in the factory. The connection is there. Oh man, TARDIS is pretty spacious to have art and furniture in it. What century is that piece from? Also, the inside just kind of looks like bubble wrap to me. Just want to... Oh, he's got one of those OG bow ties. The science teacher is also astounded at the size of this place, which then the doctor gives a good analogy about how a TV can condense a large world onto one screen in a living room. Then the doctor reveals that this box is actually a ship. And after that, Susan reveals why it's called TARDIS. I never knew this, but it's time and relative dimension in space. TARDIS. Also, as a quick side note, Billy is giving me Marty Feldman vibes. They were from the same era. I can't get past the fact that the doctor has like these fang teeth right here. Wait! They're aliens? Oh, Susan is scared about something, and the teachers just try to tell her that it's all an illusion. Susan then says she loves England in the 20th century, and that it's been the happiest 5 months of her life. I mean, during this time, Ariel 1 was launched, the Beatles released their first single, the De Havilland Comet was released as the first ever British commercial jetliner. That's some pretty cool stuff. I like how the doctor gets this fit of laughter when the science teacher tries to find his way out. Ah yes, then the teacher gets Star Trek shocked. You know, they go... It's almost like when someone puts an ice cube down your back. It's the same sensation. So Susan pleads to let them go and that she would go with them rather than stay with the doctor on TARDIS. Not the choice I would personally make. And they start to, you know, tussle a little bit. And that's when the ship moves. That is the slowest I've ever seen someone get knocked down. It looks like they leave England, just like when Willy Wonka with the glass elevator shot up through the factory. And then the episode's opening with all those psychedelic images. Oh, that's actually the TARDIS bending time and space to take them somewhere. Wait, you're telling me that the two teachers were knocked unconscious by that fall? They land in some sort of desert. No. Just like in the TV room in Wonka, when the Wonka bar appears in the desert with all the apes. There's a connection there. Anyways, then a shadow of a caveman appears and the episode ends. And then you have the title of the next episode, The Cave of Skulls. Here are my first impressions. Obviously, this was made in 1963, which happens to be 63 years ago, coincidentally. And I thought it was intriguing enough. It wasn't one of those hour-long episodes like in Star Trek where it just feels like you're going on and on. Good cliffhanger at the end with the caveman shadow. The appearance of this first doctor is kind of unnerving to me. I mean, Susan is also a little unnerving, but she also had all of those close-up shots too, so that could have been part of it. They also never actually mentioned that his name is Doctor Who, but maybe that's part of it because they don't know who he is. It's right about Susan being the unearthly child. William Hartnell plays the part well. Teachers, a little clunky, but it is what it is. Now I'm just interested to see what the effects are on some of these worlds and places that they're going to visit. Doesn't really explain a lot, which is nice. Had all that exposition with the teachers in the beginning to set the stage. Other than that, it just kind of leaves you guessing as to what's going on. Sound effects are great. The opening theme song, on point. The motion and choreography is a little off. But what can you do? Was it Twilight Zone interesting and mind-bending? No, not really, but still interesting enough for me to want to watch the second episode. I'm kind of forced to do that because I'm needing to watch all of them, so I guess I don't really have a choice. Honestly, from a very first episode without having known anything, I'd give it a 7 out of 10. But tell me what your thoughts are on this OG episode of Doctor Who. And while this may not have been the first ever Doctor Who episode for you to have watched, let me know which one that one was for you. And then next, we go on to the Cave of Skulls. Until next time.